All right, with today's video, just gonna be a quick one. I wanna give an update on my drivetrain. I swapped a few things because it just wasn't up to par of what I wanted. But I'll go over that right now with you. So I changed the Alpha 3000 front derailleur because the cage is a little bit wider compared to the Alpha 5000 because I switched to an 8-speed chain, and what wound up happening is every time I would shift in the rear, it would rub every single time and I'd have to trim. But what was weird is the Alpha 5000 front derailleur was narrow like a 9-speed front derailleur, so that was kind of confusing. So since switching to the Alpha 3000 front derailleur, it has solved the trimming problem where every single shift I would have to trim the front derailleur. Now it's every like 2 shifts. I still have to trim often, but that's to be expected. Another quirk with the Alpha 3000 front derailleur is the pivot arm is very thin, so if you crank this nut a little too hard, you'll actually wind up bending it, whereas the Alpha 5000 front derailleur and pretty much any modern derailleurs have a thicker arm so it doesn't bend when you tighten it down for the shifter cable. With these older drivetrain systems, you have to sacrifice a few things. For example, I'm on a 6-speed freewheel. I had to sacrifice the 12-tooth cog in order to at least have a range of 13 tooth to 24. So basically, I'll put on the screen my cog combination. You know, I'll be honest, I'm rarely in the 52 front chainring 12-tooth cog in the back. So I was willing to sacrifice that. So the smallest cog is a 13-tooth and then the largest is 24. And every gear shift is a 2-tooth cog difference other than the 21-tooth cog to the 24-tooth cog. I think the 40-tooth chainring and the 24-tooth cog, I can manage. I can get up pretty much all the hills out here. It's a struggle and I do have to stand up, but it works. And I'll be honest, the friction mode on this actually kind of sucks. So basically, it's either too loose where you'll have ghost shifts, or it's too tight and you just really can't fine tune it. But the problem is the D-ring, to screw it down, it has indents. So when you're twisting it, I'm at the point where there's an indent where it's too tight. And then if I back it out and it's one indent looser, then it's too loose. So the thing with indexing mode on these shifters, when you're upshifting, you almost have to pull the lever back and bounce it against the resistance of the next shift in order for it to hop to the next cog. I'm on my lowest gear and I'm climbing this hill right now and I'm still sitting down and I can manage. It's tough, of course, but that's the whole appeal of vintage bikes. It's not supposed to be easy. So I have the single pivot brakes set up really well. They really do a good job. There's a little more lever pull, but honestly, it's no big deal. They stop really well. As long as you have modern brake pads, don't get the vintage ones. Don't reuse vintage ones or buy vintage ones. Just get modern pads. With the Michelin Dynamic Classic, these tires are actually really good. I'm still surprised how good they are. They're not GP5000s, of course, but seriously, for the price you pay and honestly, the durability as well, I think it's a steal of a deal, especially if you want tan wall style. But with the Michelin Dynamic Classic tires, I've been rolling through a lot of rocks and just debris on the road and haven't gotten a flat since. So, of course, hopefully I didn't just jinx myself. Never did a proper outro, but in conclusion, the thing I want to stress the most with these drivetrains is they're not going to be the greatest, But you learn to adapt, and then it's actually really fun once you do master the older tech drivetrains. I think my ultimate goal though was to just keep this in friction mode regardless. So even though the indexing isn't that great, I'm just still gonna keep it in friction mode because I feel like this bike is meant to look and feel the part of a vintage road bike. I'm just glad that I am at a 6-speed instead of a 7-speed. So only 12 gears makes it harder, makes it more challenging, but way more fun. Seriously, thank you all once again for subscribing. I'm really enjoying making these videos, showing off these old components. I've said it before, but it's such a blast just using these things. But there's such a back catalog that's almost unlimited. Thanks for watching, and I hope you join me next time.